Are you wondering, how do you refer someone out when they don't seem to be the best fit during that first session? Really great question. Hey, everybody, we're Kate and Katie of the Private Practice Startup, and you are joining us for Level Up, a series all about answering your most burning questions about private practice. And it's really a series all about you, where we help you live and grow your dream practice and live that dream lifestyle.
But first, before we dive into the answer to this question, we just want to say a quick thank you to our sponsor, TherapyNotes. They're an amazing EHR. If you're in need of an EHR, definitely check them out. You can get your first 2 months for free. Just go to therapynotes.com and you can use the code PPS as in the Private Practice Startup.
Awesome.
All right. Yes.
So I'd love to start in the fact that let's kind of like do some like pre-work, and knowing that your practice evolves over time. If you know who your ideal client is and you're able to communicate that through your website, on the initial call, et cetera, the likelihood of having that not ideal client in your seat is not necessarily as likely. But of course, there are always situations, clients aren't always forthcoming right off the bat, and it could be 3-4 sessions in, right? So, you need to kind of look at that and understand what to do. I do remember when I was much more of a generalist and I switched to not working with young children. I'd still get calls about young children, and I was moving more and more to really identifying and refining my ideal client. And then getting in alignment to that, it was much easier that the calls would just be couples. But I know for me, there's been times where I did get a couple, and maybe on that first session, one reveals that they have a personality disorder or someone's in active addiction, right? And maybe couples is not the best. I'm not a personality disorder expert. So we definitely need to have conversations about that up front for sure. So I think it is just really being clear. And when you're clear and you can communicate who your ideal client is and who you're best to serve, right? Because we're positioning it in the way that my skill set isn't best for your needs at this time. And maybe it is something that they do some individual work and then they come back, or maybe it's just not your ideal client at all. So it's really just being clear and positioning it that way. But then of course, always having some referral resources in your back pocket, or at least jumping online and really helping that client figure out where they need to go. Kate, what are your thoughts?
Absolutely. Yeah, we want to come from a position of helpfulness and that we genuinely desire to help people. And if we're not best served, or if we're not skilled to be the best possible person to serve this particular client with their needs, we would be doing them a disservice and even at worst, potential harm. And obviously 100%. We want to assure that we don't go in that direction. So it's really important to come from that place of care and really wanting them to get the best possible care they can. And Katie talked a little bit about knowing who your ideal client is, and that helps you to know who your ideal client isn't. There's going to be different types of clients. You'll have your ideal client who is the amazing fit for you, and you might have some clients who are an okay fit. And then you'll have clients who could come few and far between that just aren't a right fit at all. And it's very clear when that happens. And that can happen, like Katie said, in the first session. It can happen 4 sessions in that you maybe they reveal more information and you get a fuller picture of what's going on. It's really good to have some information in your consent form, letting them know that the first 3 to 4 sessions, you're in the assessment phase of really understanding. And if at any point in time you determine that they are not an ideal fit for you and that they would be better served by another clinician, it is your duty to refer them out to someone that they can get the best possible care from. So not only having the conversations, but also having it in your paperwork. It is something that's a part of our paperwork. Our consent page is about 8 pages long. It's very, very thorough. We'll put a link for that in the resources section for you, just in case you're in need of a consent form. So the next step would be really having the conversation and just coming from that place of care, wanting them to get the best help possible. And also providing 3 different referrals. So if you can be helpful for them, connect them with 3 possible referrals of who would be the best fit for them, and they can go in and do that research, and then they end up getting the best possible help, they may refer someone to you because you've continued to be helpful in that process. So it's not a negative thing. It's all about helping them get the help that they need.
Nice. And one little added thing in there, as you were talking, one of the things I thought of, there's some therapists that will state in that initial session that, today is really about us getting to know each other. We're going to determine together if it's the right step for us moving forward. So sometimes that's just part of your session. And then maybe depending on your demographic, the population you serve, the needs and stuff like that, maybe you have some specific questions that you ask to help weed out, is this an ideal client for you or not? So at the end of that session, you can go back and say, hey, remember, we're going to take 5 minutes. Let's talk about that, and hey, you brought up some things today that I don't feel like I'm the best suited to serve you, et cetera, or hey, this is a perfect fit. So let's move forward. What do you think? So that's another way to handle that. Great question. We always love answering your guys' questions. This was great. And we look forward to seeing you next time.
Yeah, we look forward to seeing you next time. And in the meantime, you guys got this.
You guys got this. Take care, everybody.